Hello, patrons, and welcome to the Syntorial Easy Synth Programming on Your Own 14, where we're going to be making 3 new patches using Unison. The rules are pretty much open, and we're going to be using Massive, so we're going to look into some specifics about how Massive uses Unison. So I've already opened and initialized a patch, so here you can hear that. Now, what can we do? In fact, you know what, I must have messed up my initialized patch because it's not working anymore. But that's okay, we can fix that. Pretty much the main thing I like to do is restart my oscillators and turn my level up here for... that's really the main thing, and then just put it on like a sawtooth. Turn these off. Yeah, I'm just initializing my synth because I must have like messed up my setting at some point, and let's just turn on just a basic filter. Actually, turn that off, and then we can save as. Actually, I'm starting to make my own little production library, so I'm going to save it as something new. This is a new initialized patch. Maybe it just can't find the other one. That's probably what the problem is. Anyway, brand spanking new patch, and like I said in the public video, we're gonna be looking at voices like people in a choir. Okay, I'm not going to go over the whole thing. You can watch it again. But like I mentioned in that video, your whole oscillator section, which is actually this entire portion of Massive, this like entire quarter of it, is dedicated to sound generation. And then the rest of this is sound modification. But yeah, like over here, we have our 3 basic oscillators: a modulation oscillator, a noise oscillator, and feedback, which is it has to do with routing, whatever, we'll go into that, but basically you can set up any of these points and it'll take whatever that signal is and then shoot it back over here into your feedback section, send it back to your filters or whatever, okay? But we have that off for now. But for Unison, we're going to come over here to the voicing tab. So let me make a little MIDI clip here and just play one note. Just in Ableton, it's C3. Everywhere else in the world, it's C4. But hey, Ableton does what they want, and props to them for that. Yeah, so let's go ahead and hit play and then listen to that basic note. Really nothing special, okay? Let me make it a little bit shorter. Okay. So that's just one note. That's like one person singing, and they happen to be singing a sawtooth waveform. But we're not worried about that right now. Now here we have max voices. Now what does that mean? Well, we have polyphon selected here, which means that we can play up to 16 notes, but the problem is with the amp envelopes. If we keep the amp envelope really tight, then yeah, we could play 16 notes. Like, I don't know how I could even do it. Here's 7, here's 12, here's 12 notes. That was 13. You can see up here, that's 16 voices. And we can do that, but let's say if we increase the release time a lot. Now I'll hit one note, and now while that fades out, look, see, it's still using that one voice up here, okay, until it's completely gone. Now it's gone. Maybe that's a little too long. But now I'm going to play 2. I can't talk at the same time because I have sidechain compression ducking my voice out, but let me play 2 now. I'll play 1, and then 1 right after. See, even though you could only really hear one of those at a time, it was using the 2 voices because it has to finish the amp envelope. That's just how it works. And if I play 3, see up here, they're still holding, and then look, it kind of like cut back. So look, 1, it'll go 3, 2, 1, or 3, 2, 1, 0. Boom. See how that works? So voices it's a complex thing. It doesn't necessarily mean how many notes you can play simultaneously. Although if I was to hit all of those at once, then yes. But as soon as I start playing some after, it'll start cutting them out. So like, this is still voices, so it matters. So let me play 3, and I'll demonstrate this again. We covered this in polyphony, but it's worth repeating because it does get kind of complex. See, as soon as I hit that 4th note, as long as this amp envelope is long enough and that first note is being held out, it's going to get choked. Okay, it's going to get cut off, and that's just how it works. So like I said, let's go back to our hypothetical choir of 16 people. Now we have polyphony, which means we can play multiple pitches at once. Real quick, I can show you. Let me like jam on the keyboard just one chord over and over, and see how fast we can fill these up. Yeah, see, that's how that works. But we remember monophonic, okay, that means we can only play one note at a time. It's only one note, okay? Monorotate is 2 parallel notes, but they just crossfade, so it just makes it a little bit more neat. That's all that does, okay? And then we have this type of trigger. And actually I forgot to mention this, but this has to do with your modulators, like your LFO or whatever. Whether they'll trigger for each note, or they'll only trigger when you have a break in your playing. You know, when you play legato, it'll hold the filter down. Still, we're not talking about that. We're talking about here unison. Okay, here they call it unisono. I don't know why, maybe just because it fits better. But it's unison, and this is how it works, okay? Here, our unison mode, let's go back to, we'll keep it here. Legato triller. So we're going to end up like this, okay? That's the mode we're in. So unison, right now, it's just one voice. So that's not really much of a unison. I don't hear any difference at all. So unison 1 basically means you don't have no unison, okay? But let's set it to 2. Now you heard it go down. Yeah, there you go. Must have been a glitch. So it's gonna go. It's basically, we have 2 voices to work with. Up to a maximum of 16, but as you can see, I'm keeping the amp release here very short, so we don't have to worry about that extra factor. There's just a tiny release, so it doesn't click, but we can leave it there. It doesn't make a difference. So the shortest attack, the shortest release, that's what we have. Unison now, whenever we activate, see, this is our unison spread. So what are we spreading? Ladies, what are we spreading? We're spreading the pitch, the wavetable position, and the pan. So pitch, like I told you in the public video, there's 2 modes. There's centered and there's chord. And this is how far your notes will spread when the slider's all the way to the right. So you could probably do like an inverted amount or something here, I don't know, but it doesn't matter. Let's just keep it simple once again. So unison, it's kind of like always on in the background, but you actually have to turn one of these on for it to have an effect. So this is just, once you start turning these on, this is how many voices you have to work with. So let's start with 2, okay? Because we saw that 1 does nothing. 1 does nothing. But 2, I'm hearing that lower voice a little bit more, but like I'm saying, or like I already said, there's a center axis, and these 2 unison voices are gonna spread out from there. So there will be no center voice. Like let me this right here, this value is how far each voice will go. So one voice is going to go a whole step, or is it a semitone? It's probably a semitone. So or what it might be is that's how far they end up being. So all the way to the right, it's going to be like 50 cents each one. So one's going to go up 50 cents, half of a semitone, one's going to go down. So if we do 2, let's just do 2. So like one will go, so they'll be, when it's all said and done, there'll be 2 semitones apart. And that's what, see, 1, 2. Let's listen. So this one goes down 1, this one goes up 1, so they're 2 apart. So if you want it to be like that, then you have this. And if you want to do something like, we could do like 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it'll be, well, 5 up, a total of 5. So again, it's always going to be weird because in music we don't have that perfect symmetry. You would end up on some kind of like tritone, but again, it's around this axis. So this one's going to go up to, no, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but it's 5 apart. So 1, 2, 1, 2, and then it'll be something like this. But it's not going to play that. They're just going to end up a fourth apart, but it's going to not be in tune. So, but that's how it works, okay? And if you add 4 voices, let's go back to, well, we can do 5. Why not? Because 2, we know that 1 is above, 1 is below, and they're going to end up a perfect fourth apart. Here, 1 going down, 1 going up, okay, because we only have 2. Now let's turn it to 4 and hear what happens. Pretty cool. Well, it did get louder, right? Turn it off. I'm having glitches. I'm using like also you know, screen recording and stuff. But anyway, we shouldn't hear anything just by turning this unison value up, but we should hear something probably when we turn one of these on. So let's check that out. Like, why is it getting louder? I don't know, but it is. I guess because if like I said, this is really always on, okay? So if you have this on 1, you're only going to always play 1 voice at a time, but as soon as you hit 2, then boom, you're in unison land. Hear how it's quieter now? So there you go. That's how you activate unison. It will not go to 0. So there you go. So when we had it on 2 and we brought this over here, we have these 2 voices that are centered around an axis that end up being a perfect fourth apart. But if we add 4 voices, we still have those external ones which are perfect fifth apart, but then we have the inner ones, sorry, perfect fourth apart. But we have those inner ones which, I don't know what they are. They sound cool, but they might be like somewhere between a minor third and a major third, or a major second and a minor third. Sounds like a chord, but it's the centered mode, okay? So let's go back and bring it back to 2, or 1, and let's experiment with how the chord mode works. And this is only for pitch, okay? We also have wavetable position and pan. Pan is like spread inside of primer. Wavetable position is something unique to massive because primer doesn't have wavetable oscillators, okay? So here, we're back to 1, Let's go to 2. It's louder. Let's turn the pitch cutoff unison spread option on. No difference yet. But now here what happens is I slide this to the right. Or first let me, I'll bring it back to 1. Okay, so let's go back to centered and hear what it was. They both just go around the axis. Now what happens with chord? Only 1 goes up. 1 stays the same and 1 goes up. So you can sing that same note. It's always happening. You can make that more obvious by going up to a perfect fifth. So this note will always same. Understand how that works? Now what happens if we add another voice? What's going to happen, I'll tell you just so you know what to listen for, is you're going to have 1 note stay. It's going to continue to sound, but then you're going to have 1 go up toward the perfect fifth, and then 1 go down to what musically will be a perfect fourth in the key, right? So if, let's say our center note is C, our top note is going to go to G, and our bottom note is going to go to F. We can hear that here. Okay, so let's sing the notes. So it's gonna go, and then. So we're gonna hear these notes. Listen. Hear it. Ba ba. Well. You hear it, and then you hear the perfect fifth. And then you'll hear that always. Okay, that's how the chord mode works. And then as you add them, I really don't know what'll happen actually. Let's listen. What'll happen if you add a fourth unison voice? What'll happen? Then I guess it just goes up to the next I don't know. You know what it is? It's going to be a 7 half steps above that highest voice, because that's a re. It's a major second. You can hear it here. He's going to play that, or the synth is going to play that. Hear it? Okay, because here's the G, and then a fifth above that, which is the 7 half steps, is that 7th. Sorry, it's a 9th in the key, but it's 7 half steps. Okay, does that make sense? And if we go here, then we're going to end up with 7 half steps below the 4th, which is again the tonic. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So here, if we do 5, we should end up hearing this, this, and this. So listen for this. Here. It's in there. And then also that re is in there. It's just all quieter, you know, for whatever reason, because I don't know, again, exactly how the synth is working, but you spread those out. Each voice gets a little bit quieter. And so what you end up with is some kind of suspended chord. Exactly suspended, sus2 and 4, whatever. Pretty cool. Sounds nice. So that's how unison works. inside of massive, okay? And if you want to spread out the pitches, let's drop this back down to chord and let's just do 2. So let's listen in stereo now. Okay, here should be a little louder. Now we're going to turn pitch off, we don't care. Turn pan on, and now let's spread these out. See, they're spread out, but they don't make a difference because they need to be different to sound spread out. Like if you take the exact same sound, it's going to sound like it's in the center. And obviously they're using some kind of pan law which doesn't match mine. And I know mine's like -6 or whatever from Reaper. Mine's like really accurate, but they obviously took it upon themselves to change that for whatever reason. So let's change the pitch just a little. Let's go back to the centered and let's just go back to like 1. So remember, we're going to spread them out on an axis, just like Syntorial, okay? And this will bring us 50 cents each. I don't think Syntorial even gives you the 50 cents. In fact, I think if we were to do it Syntorial style, I think we would end up with like something like 60 cents or whatever. I don't quite know, but let's see if we can simulate that. So here we have mono, right in the center. And now we have them coming out of each speaker, which is really no difference except for their pan law, which makes it sound a little quieter for me. And let's increase this pitch cutoff, so each voice is going to move around that axis. And immediately you can hear them start to separate. Left is going up and right is going down. Okay. Here let's do it to a perfect fourth. So this will go up however much, you know, it'll be 2.5 half steps actually, which again you end up with a half, but that's just how it is. Unless we do 4, so it'd be like a major third. So this will go up 2 half steps. This one will go down 2 half steps. So you can hear that, okay? And then the one on the left is going ma ma na 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 na. You can hear it. So that's how that works, okay? And if we do the chord, let's go back to 7 just because that's where we were, so we can hear that perfect fifth on top and the perfect fourth in the bottom. In fact, we need to change it to 3. So first we're going to listen for that fifth. So let's hear which voice does what. So on the right side it's staying put, on the left side it's going up to the perfect fifth. Now let's add that third one, so we're going to have that perfect fourth in the bottom. It sounds like we're still getting that stable voice on the right, and then with the perfect fifth, and then on the bottom we're having that perfect fourth play. That's all you need to know, because that's all it does. And then wavetable position, let's bring it back here to 2, and then basically what we're going to do is change the wavetable position from one position to another. And so let's hear how that sounds. So let's spread this out. I'm going to play a lower octave though. So let's hear the basic pitch. Okay. So I'm hearing the fifth on the left side. Okay. I don't know why, but I am. Now let's hear what happens with the wavetable position when we move it. I hear no difference. Maybe I'll turn it to a square. Wait. So that to me, yeah, it's a square, right? I have a utility plugin here in Ableton. So maybe I can just turn left on only and hear how that sounds. So we can hear what we're doing, because I'm kind of getting tripped up here. So, okay. So our left channel is going from square to saw, which you can see up here, that's what it's doing. And you can probably change this to negative too if you wanted. Can you? Can you change it to negative? No? So pretty much you can only go in one direction, that's fine. So on this side, you have it at square, and here it's saw, right? And then the right side, is that changing at all? No. And that's because chord mode. Now what about centered mode? I don't hear any change. Let's add 3. Yeah, we are definitely hearing something. So centered, 1, are we gonna hear anything? No. 2, are we gonna hear anything? Not that I can tell. Oh shoot, we're on the right side. What about the left side? Yeah. So the left is gonna change from pulse or square to saw, just like it would if I did this. But it doesn't sound like it changes it all the way. Whatever. And there you go. So chord, yeah, it's always going to change the left side. So you can hear it. It's just very subtle. Yeah, on the left side we have square, saw. Okay? Same thing here. There you go. So square, saw, blah, 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 blah. That's how that works. We got pan, so we can make that more narrow. Or we can switch the effect if we want everything to happen on the other side. Go back to mono. So yeah, that's how it works. That's all the features. So we can make 3 new patches pretty quick. Let's just play our little loop here. I'm just gonna work through it because yeah. Okay, what I'm doing there is, I know I want my LFO to modulate this, but if you use the sidechain, then this envelope here is going to impact how this one performs. So that's why it's fading in negative to get a kind of tremolo. Make sense? I'm content with that. And then here we have our, you know, we have the 5th going on. And we can, I mean, we could mess with that too, if you want. So like maybe kick this on? I don't know. Or we could start off the other way. a little bit, yeah. Just take that click out. So there you go. That's our first patch. We'll save it as, I don't know what you'd even call it. Why does it sound low? It's almost like a lead, you know? So, lead. Oh, wow. And that's on your own 14. Okay. Let's initialize. And let's come up with something else. So we want to use this voicing tab. So I don't want to play chords. Let's go back and do that sus chord. That was kind of fun. So we can just move the sus chord around. Spread it out some. Maybe we could add like a cool LFO to that. It's a subtle effect. Not really if you put it in stereo. But you just turn the amount down some. I wish I could adjust that. Like, that would be dope if I could like modulate the amount of this LFO with another one. Oh, actually I could. With this one, I could probably do that. That's pretty cool. And then, what if I could take this and also do the filter? Kind of fun. Kind of cool. And then we can put a little extra octave on there, why not? You can also take that 6th LFO and just kind of like... Yeah, I like that. Cool. So I don't know what that's called. It's almost like a pad, but not really. It's also like another lead, huh? So that's also lead. Bobblehead. And then OY014. Cool. And then let's initialize and make some kind of bass. So we know that our basses are down here. So if we want to use unison, we can, but let's do we want to do like a fifth, mono rotates, legato triller. See what I mean? So we can do like a cool, like maybe quick filter cutoff. Let's try that. Just like a do do do. Yeah. And then we haven't talked about velocity, but we could probably map that to this. So velocity here and oops. Or the harder they hit it, the flatter it gets, maybe? Chord. I mean, that's a little different, you know. The harder you hit it, the more it gets detuned. I mean, that does kind of happen in real basses. Actually, they kind of go up in pitch. So maybe what we could do, we turn this off, and then raise this some. Try to find the actual fifth. Like right there, and then add our velocity. And up. So like the harder you hit it, it'll go up, like, you know, maybe that's too much, but like the harder you hit it, you know, and then let's add like a little release to it. There we go. That's cool. It's like a digital bass. Maybe we can add like a little tube action. Just a touch. Always. This is a good example of when to use this triller, because if you use legato triller, the filter is going to fade off, even if we use legato. But if we use always, cool. So that's our bass sound. It's like a weird digital bass. Could be usable at some point. That wraps up this Patreon exclusive Ninja training, where we took a deep dive into Native Instruments' massives, Native Instruments massives voicing section, where we explored unison. We kind of clarified how we felt about polyphony and the monophonic settings, and also we saw a real live example about when do you want to change your trigger settings from always to legato triller. We covered the pitch cutoff, how far your voices get spread, whether you're using a centered setting, which is around an invisible axis, or a chord where we just keep stacking notes at intervals from each other. We covered wavetable position, which Primer doesn't have, but Native Instruments Massive does. Pan position, left or right, and you can invert that as well. And we made 3 patches. So thank you for joining me in this. Yeah, you know, the contribution helps. I hope one day I can move into a loft, so in like sound isolated, so it's totally quiet, so I can just make videos in complete sublime peace, as much as you can get in this crazy world we live in. So thank you very much. See you next week.